Installing a doorbell button in a way that is both practical and aesthetically pleasing while adhering to local electrical codes requires careful planning and execution. This method outlines a concealed doorbell button enclosure using Conduit, a solution that addresses these concerns. The materials needed include a 1-gang electrical box with a mud ring, 1/2-inch polyvinyl chloride PVC conduit, a 1/2-inch PVC elbow 90°, a 1/2-inch PVC coupling, a 1/2-inch non-metallic cable connector MC connector, a 1/2-inch rigid steel conduit coupling, a 1/2-inch rigid steel conduit chase nipple 6-inch length, a doorbell button, and appropriate gauge wire. To begin the installation, firstly prepare the location for the electrical box. Cut a 1-gang hole in the drywall behind the desired doorbell button location. Install the electrical box and mud ring, ensuring that the front edge of the mud ring is flush with the finished wall surface. This is crucial for a clean and professional look. Secondly, run the conduit. From the electrical box, run 1/2-inch PVC conduit along the wall or ceiling towards the existing junction box or the point where you plan to tap into the doorbell circuit. Secure the conduit with conduit straps or clips to provide mechanical support and prevent movement. Thirdly, install the conduit elbow. Connect a 1/2-inch PVC elbow to the end of the PVC conduit nearest to the button location. This elbow will allow the conduit to transition from the wall or ceiling down to the doorbell button location. Fourthly, install the couplings. Attach a 1/2-inch PVC coupling to the open end of the PVC conduit that you ran from the electrical box. Then attach a 1/2-inch rigid steel conduit coupling to the other end of the PVC elbow. These couplings will provide a transition between the PVC conduit and the rigid steel chase nipple. Fifthly, install the chase nipple. Thread a 6-inch length of 1/2-inch rigid steel conduit chase nipple into the rigid steel conduit coupling. This chase nipple will serve as a recess for the doorbell button, protecting it from damage and providing a clean, finished appearance. Sixthly, install the MC connector. Screw an MC connector onto the electrical box. This connector will allow you to transition from the conduit system to the wiring inside the electrical box. Seventhly, pull the wire. Pull either a 16-gauge or 18-gauge wire through the conduit, MC connector, and chase nipple. Be sure to leave enough slack on both ends to make the necessary connections. Eighthly, connect the doorbell button. Connect the wires to the terminals on the doorbell button. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for proper wiring. Ninthly, install the doorbell button. Carefully insert the doorbell button into the chase nipple and secure it with the screws provided. Make sure the button is flush with the surface of the chase nipple and that it operates smoothly. Tenthly, seal the conduit. Use caulk or sealant to seal any gaps around the PVC conduit, elbow, and MC connector. This will help to prevent moisture from entering the system and protect the wiring. This concealed doorbell button enclosure offers several advantages. It provides a clean and concealed appearance for the doorbell button, enhancing the aesthetic appeal of the installation. It complies with local wiring regulations, ensuring that the installation meets all safety and code requirements. It protects the wiring and button from moisture and physical damage, extending the lifespan of the components. And it is relatively easy to install and maintain, making it a practical solution for a wide range of applications. Regarding the specific situation of working on a 17-story condo with 255 units in Clark County, Nevada, it is important to emphasize the necessity of adhering to all local electrical codes and regulations. The use of conduit or armored cable is mandatory, and all wiring must be properly enclosed and protected. This method of installing a concealed doorbell button enclosure with conduit is fully compliant with these requirements. In terms of the original suggestion of using 16-gauge flat stock as backing and drilling a 1/2-inch hole to attach an MC connector with a rigid coupling and chase nipple, this method may not be the most practical or aesthetically pleasing solution. The use of an electrical box and conduit provides a more professional and robust installation, ensuring that the wiring is properly protected and that the doorbell button is securely mounted. Furthermore, consulting with the electrical inspector before beginning the installation is always a good idea. The inspector can provide guidance on local codes and regulations and can help to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. By following these steps and adhering to all applicable codes and regulations, a safe and effective concealed doorbell button enclosure can be created that meets the needs of the project and the expectations of the client. Remember that working with electricity can be dangerous, so always take appropriate safety precautions and consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive guidelines for safe electrical installations. It's imperative to adhere to the NEC standards along with any local amendments or regulations enforced by Clark County, Nevada. Some NEC articles that may be relevant include Article 300. For wiring methods in general, Article 314. For junction and pull boxes, and Article 352. For PVC conduit, be aware that specific requirements, such as conduit fill percentages and support spacing, must be strictly observed. Selecting the correct wire gauge is crucial for the safe and reliable operation of the doorbell system. While 16-gauge or 18-gauge wire is generally sufficient for doorbell circuits, the specific wire gauge should be chosen based on the length of the wire run and the current draw of the doorbell chime or buzzer. Use the NEC tables, such as Table 310.15b16, to determine the appropriate wire ampacity for the application. When connecting the wires to the doorbell button and the chime or buzzer, ensure that all connections are secure and properly insulated. Use wire connectors or terminal blocks to make the connections, and wrap any exposed wires with electrical tape. Grounding is another important consideration for electrical safety. The electrical box and all metal conduit components should be properly grounded in accordance with the NEC requirements. This will help to prevent electrical shock hazards and ensure the safe operation of the system. Before energizing the circuit, carefully inspect all wiring and connections to ensure that there are no loose wires, exposed conductors, or other potential hazards. Use a multimeter to verify that the voltage and current levels are within the acceptable range. If any problems are detected, correct them immediately before proceeding. Regular maintenance is essential for ensuring the continued safe and reliable operation of the doorbell system. Periodically inspect the wiring, connections, and components for signs of wear, damage, or corrosion. Replace any worn or damaged parts immediately. Keep the doorbell button and chime or buzzer clean and free from dust and debris. The one-gang electrical box needs to be securely mounted to the wall framing using appropriate fasteners. Ensure that the box is level and flush with the finished wall surface. The mud ring should be attached to the electrical box with screws, and the gap between the mud ring and the drywall should be filled with joint compound and sanded smooth. The PVC conduit should be installed in a neat and professional manner, with all bends and transitions made using appropriate fittings. The conduit should be supported at regular intervals using conduit straps or clamps. The rigid steel conduit chase nipple should be threaded tightly into the rigid steel conduit coupling. A chase nipple should be long enough to accommodate the doorbell button and any associated wiring. The NC connector should be securely fastened to the electrical box. The connector should be sized appropriately for the wire gauge being used. The wire should be pulled through the conduit and connector carefully, avoiding any damage to the insulation. The wires should be connected to the doorbell button and chime or buzzer in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. The connection should be tight and secure. The doorbell button should be installed in the chase nipple and secured with screws. The screws should be tightened carefully to avoid damaging the button. The conduit and connector should be sealed with caulk or sealant to prevent moisture from entering the system. The caulk or sealant should be applied evenly and neatly. It's important to choose a doorbell button that is compatible with the existing doorbell system. The button should be rated for the voltage and current of the system. The button should also be durable and weather resistant. When selecting PVC conduit, choose a type that is suitable for the application. Schedule 40 PVC conduit is commonly used for electrical installations. The conduit should be sized appropriately for the number of wires being run. The PVC elbow should be a 90-degree elbow, and it should be sized to match the conduit. The PVC coupling should be sized to match the conduit. The rigid steel conduit coupling should be sized to match the conduit and the chase nipple. The rigid steel conduit chase nipple should be sized to match the conduit and the doorbell button. The NC connector should be sized to match the conduit and the wire gauge being used. The wire should be sized appropriately for the voltage and current of the doorbell system. The caulk or sealant should be a type that is suitable for electrical applications. It should be non-conductive and resistant to moisture. Remember to de-energize the circuit before starting any electrical work. This is essential for preventing electrical shock. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. This will help to protect you from injury. Work in a well-lit area. This will make it easier to see what you are doing and avoid mistakes. Follow all instructions carefully. This will help to ensure that the installation is done correctly and safely. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work, hire a qualified electrician. This is the best way to ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. The proper tools for this installation include a drill, a screwdriver, a wire stripper, a wire crimper, a multimeter, a level, a tape measure, a hacksaw or PVC cutter, and a caulk gun. Before starting the installation, obtain all necessary permits and approvals from the local authorities. This will ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Be aware of the location of any underground utilities before digging. This will help to prevent damage to these utilities. Use caution when working with ladders or scaffolding. This will help to prevent falls. Keep the work area clean and organized. This will help to prevent accidents. Dispose of any waste materials properly. This will help to protect the environment. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, so always take appropriate safety precautions. And always consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. This method provides a safe, code-compliant, and aesthetically pleasing way to install a doorbell button in a condominium setting. By carefully following these steps and adhering to all applicable regulations, you can create a doorbell system that is both functional and visually appealing.